episode of Lie, Cheat, and Steal, the podcast about liars, frauds, thieves, and bullshitters. I'm your host, Pat Soroyce. Just to let you guys know, we drop 2 episodes every month, so you can check those out wherever you're listening to podcasts at. Also, if you want to follow us online, we are on all the socials at Lie, Cheat, Steal Podcast. It's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Look us up. And if you really like what you hear, you can also check us out on Patreon. That's patreon.com/lie, cheat, and steal. Get access to ad-free episodes. 2 more episodes every month. And access to our Discord server where we talk about all sorts of fun stuff, including scams with the rest of the old scam gang. That being said, I am still, weeks later, still in the studio. Kath has moved back to Austin.
We're trapped. Yeah. We're trapped down here in the podcast mines.
In the podcast mines here at the Comedy Frequency. How you doing, Kath?
I'm good. I've had a wonderful trip. I went to Barton Springs yesterday. I got a weirdly shaped sunburn.
Nice.
Which is part of the experience for me in Texas. It's so funny. Because I used to live like kind of close to the river in East Austin. There's a bike trail that goes like right there. And so when I lived here, I would go to Barton Springs like almost every weekend when the weather was nice. And I was trying to get people to go with me, like friends of ours. And they were like, I haven't been there in like 15 years. And I was like, it's great, dude. Yeah. It's so great. I love it.
We used to have a Greenbelt comedian day trip planning group on Facebook, which is for getting trips to the Greenbelt.
Wow, and it not included.
Yeah, well, no, this is after you moved.
Okay.
This is after you moved. Yeah, but it fell out because one season, like, there was never any water.
Yeah.
That kind of sucked.
That, I remember, like, a very controversial Facebook group when I lived here was, does the Greenbelt have water? Which, like, a lot of people fighting about the Greenbelt. I don't miss the heat, like, most of the time. But I do this weekend I've been here, it's been, like, cloudless, high 80s, low 90s, and it was like 40 and rainy in New York all weekend. Yeah. So I was very, very happy to be here.
Isn't that the best East Coast flex? Like when you go back home to Texas and you come back with a suntan. Or
Exactly.
I left Connecticut one time in February and came back and visited for a week and went back with a tan because it was the sunniest shit. And my boy, he made this catamaran and we were just taking it out in the river and shit. And
nice.
Just got cooked. It was great.
Yeah, it feels nice to get a little cooked. I have been treating my body like a garbage can the whole time I've been here, which is the other thing that happens when I'm here. It's so funny. Like now that I'm old, I'm just like, smoking cigarettes and drinking every night, and then I like, why do I look bad? It's like, well, like you see the effects so much quicker now. You know, it's like all it takes is like 2 days of being a little dehydrated, and I'm like, God, I look like shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I know that one. Dude, I think it's crazy when you take your foot off the brake or take your foot off the gas for a little bit and you're like getting 8 hours of sleep for a week and you haven't drank in a week and you're like, do I have superpowers?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? Yeah.
That I'm like generally pretty healthy in New York, and it is like I'm gonna go back and next week I'm gonna be like, my skin is so clear. Like, what happened? I got so hot. And it's like, you're like taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
But all I do down here is drink like $5 cocktails because everything's Monopoly money at the bars here compared to New York. Smoke cigarettes and eat like so much smoked meat. It's like all I do. It's great. It's a wonderful, wonderful getaway.
Yeah, well, it's been glad to have you back. We talked about the last episode. I went and saw you do Tootsie at Master Pancake last night. That was really fun.
Yeah, if our listeners, I feel like probably a lot of them know what that is, but if you don't, Master Pancake Theater is a long-running movie mocking show in Austin at the Alamo Drafthouse. It's it's Mystery Science Theater style. We make jokes over movies. But the reason I'm telling you is those happen every weekend in person, but they also have Twitch streams on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So if seems like something you would like and you're not in Austin, you can still check it out. Wednesdays and Thursday evening, twitch.tv/Master Pancake Theater. I'm on there occasionally, but it's a really fun troupe of really funny comedians. So
it was very fun. I had a blast. Kath got me and the girl I was out with that night. She got us front. We sat in the front row with y'all, and you guys had the mics and you're talking the whole time. And I smoked a little bit of bud. I drank a few beers. I was having a hard time not just joining in. And there's a couple times where I said some shit out loud, and I was like, I'm not part of the show.
Right. No, it is like for comedians to come, it is like hard to sit on your hands. Like before I started, which now is like probably a dozen years ago. I've been doing it so long, but I got in because the guy I was dating was in the cast, and so I would come see them like when he was performing and sit in the front and like be like whispering joke, and he's like, not now, like I wrote my own jokes, like shut up.
At one point, something happened, and I said, "Got his ass," and you hit me with the assist on the mic. You're like, "Got his ass."
Yeah,
I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Give it a little amplification.
Yeah. They needed to hear it. At one point, I went to go order my last beer, and the lady was like, "I've served you more than I can serve in 2 hours." I was like, "Hey,
damn, you were efficient."
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I got in there and got it done. Well, that's my job. And that's my job to do that. Speaking of jobs.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Good
Speaking
segue.
of jobs, I wanted to talk today about just another trend, as a term you used a couple weeks ago on the podcast, is stripping the copper out of society.
Yes, we are being looted.
Yeah, we're being looted. And a big thing about obviously how good is the economy doing. Everybody talks about jobs. What's the job numbers looking like?
Yes, which like I feel like now with all this tariffs and stuff, people are talking about the economy differently. But like before the election, people were arguing a lot about like how good is the economy, because like if you look at some measures of the economy, it's doing really well, which I think is we're going to talk about. Maybe this measure is not all that helpful.
Not all that accurate, yeah.
But so it's like, I don't know. Just like if you're looking at how the bottom third is doing, it's not doing great. But if you're looking at how the top third is doing, it's doing well. So like, which one do you use?
Yeah. I would always judge the bottom third, see how they're doing.
Sure.
But to kind of get us into this right now, what if I were to tell you that non-farm payrolls increased 228,000 for the month of March in 2025?
I would say I don't know what that means.
Yeah, neither did I until roughly 48 hours ago.
Okay.
So that is non-farm payrolls, which I'll explain what that means in a moment. That's up from that 228,000 for the month of March. That is up from 117,000 in February, and it's higher than the 140,000 non-farm payrolls increase that was previously anticipated.
So is this number? Is it money? Is it number of jobs? Like, what does that number mean?
Non-farm payrolls is the number of jobs gained excluding farming, private household, nonprofit jobs, and military enlistments.
Okay.
So if you are working in anything besides those 4 fields, which is it pretty much covers everything else, that means that companies increased their payroll demand for 228,000 positions in the month of March.
Okay.
Now, when a president tells you they've added so many hundreds of thousands of new jobs in the last month or the last quarter, this is the number they are referencing. They're talking about non-farm payrolls. This number, or the claim of this number, can make or break political campaigns.
Yeah.
It can spur economic growth. It can lead to a recession. It spurs consumer confidence. It can also tank the stock market. It has the ability to be a factor we remember most about an elected official, is how many jobs they added. That's a huge selling point for most people's political careers. It truly dictates the ebb and flow of the market and can determine the quality of your daily life.
Yeah.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a stat more indicative of where we're at as a nation and what direction we need to move in next. And that's just new jobs created. Well,
job creators.
Job
that
creators.
Famous thing.
Yeah. You know the guys that are out there creating jobs.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, RIP legend Scotty Peterson. He had a bunch of rich homies from Houston that he grew up with come out to his show. And so at that day, me and my friend had our landlord visiting, and we paid a cleaning service to come clean our house because the landlord was going to visit. And so the ladies got there. We had both felt bad because our house wasn't that dirty, and we just hired this team to clean it. And I made a joke where I was like, "Yeah, these ladies were like all these spoiled gringo brats." And one of Scotty's childhood friends goes, "Hey, don't ever apologize for being a job creator." I was like, dude, I hired a cleaning service to avoid an eviction. Dude, I'm not a job creator.
I feel like though I just started getting maybe once a season I have someone come clean my apartment. I can't, I'm not. I don't got it like that to have them come all that much more often, but I do have somebody come. Yeah, I have somebody coming at the end of April. The last time they came was around New Year's. And the first time I did it, obviously, the cliche thing when you have a cleaner come, you clean for the cleaner. You want it to be presentable. And I had done that, and I thought that I had done a great job. And then seeing someone professionally clean my apartment, I was like, oh, I'm disgusting. You think there's nothing to clean? There's probably some stuff to clean. They'll find some work.
We kind of got addicted to it because we hired we hired them a few more times. And my mom came over to my house. Do you remember that old house I lived at with a bunch of the comedian homies? It was that big house.
Is that with Josh Staub?
Yeah, from Riverside. Yeah, it was a real nice place. So we used to have parties there all the time. So we started having people coming professionally clean it. And my mom had stopped by one day, and she's like, "God damn, man, your house looks great." I was like, "Yeah, thanks."
Domestic.
And then my mom, she found the cleaning card from the cleaning company, and she was like, "Did you hire a cleaning company?" I was like, "Nah, this is me and David, dude. We got to work in here." And she was like, "Yeah, what's this?"
I really like if you can find like because there are places where like you can make sure that the people cleaning your house have health insurance and like they do it right, and it's still not that expensive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just feel like so many relationships would be saved if people knew how easy it is to get a cleaner to come.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just that domestic labor shit. Like it'll drive people crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it that are more or less sort of like ethically responsible or whatever. But like, even if you're doing it right, it's like, it's not that expensive and you should do it.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
do it. It's
Yeah,
really
give it a
nice.
shot. Treat yourself to it.
Treat yourself. Just
I-
even like an annual, it's so nice.
Yeah. I fell into wash and fold laundry for a while.
Ooh, yeah, that's that'll get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
It's nice.
yeah, it's kind of hard to go back afterwards.
That's my thing that I always do, which thankfully I haven't had to do in a while because I haven't moved. But when I'm moving, I bring everything I own to wash and fold.
Yeah.
And then I just put it all in moving boxes.
There
So
you
it's
go.
just
Yeah.
like
Yep.
it's crisp and clean and like ready to go.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah, nothing better than a good, crisp, clean outfit,
Mm,
man.
love it.
Love it. All right, so we're talking, new jobs created. Well, what if I were to tell you that it is estimated that 20% of those jobs don't really exist?
Based on how the economy is, I'm not terribly surprised.
Yeah, it's not a crazy,
Pat.
shocking fact.
I feel
yeah.
like people have been undermining this job number for a while.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this might not be as concrete as we think it is.
It really isn't. 1 in 5, pure bullshit.
1 in
Just-
5 fake.
Just strategic listings posted to further the cause of companies in one deceitful capacity or another. See, what a fake job listing does is it provides a creative way for a company to not only gauge the job market, but also influence the behavior of their existing workforce. They can also satisfy government hiring mandates or simply mine the sweet, ever valuable data that both applicants and competitors provide.
So this is interesting to me that like they have the way that they're determining the amount of jobs are just scraping job application websites and stuff because
Yeah.
that's like
Companies will report how many openings they have.
yeah, of course that's made up then.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just juicing the stats.
Juice the fucking stats, and they have. We'll get into it. There are a million reasons to post a job opening that have nothing to do with I need an employee.
Yeah.
And it's like they figured this out, and like it's clever. Like what they're doing, like it's not unintelligent. It's not a dumb move. But so if you've applied for a job in today's digital landscape, you might be familiar with what an absolute post-apocalyptic shit circus it is. It's easy to imagine how social media and job posting sites create the perfect hiding place for underhandedness, but ghost jobs are in no way a new trick from our corporate overlords. The powers that be have been manipulating the job market to their advantage for centuries. We can go back down to the late 1800s with American industrialist Andrew Carnegie. Now, Carnegie would often publicly talk about the importance of labor unions and how the wealthy had a moral obligation to help the underclass. He was very vocal about the right talking points, especially when you're bumping up against the Gilded Age and people are starting to get disenchanted with the business elite.
Right.
He knew how to talk the talk of like, hey, I'm here for the working man, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is like right after the Russian Revolution, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
communism is on the people's
Yeah.
lips,
Dude,
and we got to stop it.
I'm re-listening to an audiobook called Sapiens by Noah Yuval Harari. That is a very fucking excellent book. But they, I don't agree with him on everything, but like he makes a lot of great points. One of them is talking about how we assume it's a foregone conclusion that liberalism and capitalism were the winners of the 20th century.
Yeah.
But he's like, if you go back to about 80 years, it was not clear who was going to win.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was very likely that it would have been a more of a socialist, Marxist thing that would have taken the lead.
Well, that's the argument that people make about the New Deal is like that was actually protective of capitalism because you had to offer people something or
Yeah.
they were going to burn the whole thing down.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like,
you had to give them something.
yeah, which man, I wish they would give us something.
Yeah, give us something. Have you guys explored the option of giving us something
Yeah.
as opposed to just taking fucking everything
Think
from
about
us?
it. But that also reminds me, I feel like I've referenced on here The Dawn of Everything by David Graeber. And
Yes.
it's basically like that kind of idea, but goes back really, really far to just be like this idea we have about human nature. It didn't have to be this way.
Yeah,
It didn't
yeah,
have to go this
yeah.
way. There are examples throughout history of other ways of being that, make it so that this was not necessarily the inevitable outcome.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like when they go back and they look at like ancient societies, not even ancient societies, but they'll find like sites like Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, the apartments.
Yeah, the apartments. And they look and they're finding no signs of social stratification. And it's like clearly it was probably like a very egalitarian society. Or they'll find out like there's this argument that's made by like the real like shithead military historians that are like conflict created civilization.
Yeah.
And they'll go and find evidence of civilization with no defensive ramparts. No, you can't know what was happening, but you can know enough to be like, this was not a militarized society.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they didn't need this
And
like
they
this
did all
cutthroat
right.
nature. Yeah, exactly. I mean, shit, if you want to get real deep cut, you might say like the Indo-Europeans, supposedly the Yamnaya culture that moved westward out of the steppe into Europe, brought their warrior class culture that just influenced the entire European peninsula's mindset on everything, and it was not in lockstep with the
Damn,
regions
dude.
around them.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was like the expansionist globalist descendancy of ideas came from this like warlike culture
From the steeps.
Yeah. It was like it didn't have to be that way, man. Like, it looks cool in fucking fan art. I love to see a guy with a broadsword and fucking
Hell yeah.
helmet. Yeah, that looks dope as hell. But in practice, it's not always the best way to live. So. Back to our boy Carnegie, though.
Yeah.
And so in practice, Carnegie was a master manipulator of the job market to bust unions and keep labor prices low. When steel prices fell during the last part of the 19th century, Carnegie instructed the head of Carnegie Steel, a guy named Henry Frick, to slash wages and flood local job postings to create the illusion of labor abundance and break union power.
I've been to his museum. There's a Frick Museum in New York,
really?
and that's what he was doing with all those profits he was stealing from the workers.
Shit.
He was buying art.
Did they talk about Fort Frick? Did you hear about Fort Frick?
No.
So after they did this, the workers continued to organize, and Frick constructed a 12-foot tall wall around the factory, complete with armed guards and sniper towers and water cannons. They started calling it Fort Frick, and it locked striking workers away from the means of production. Frick then posted job listings in poor surrounding towns, promising high wages and train fare.
Scabs.
Scabs.
Yeah.
All while omitting that the steel mill was on strike.
Yeah.
So he called in to enforce this. He called in 300 Pinkerton agents, those fucking sacks of shit.
Yeah.
To protect the 1,700 scab workers from the strikers, and after several days of violence, he eventually called in the Pennsylvania National Guard to squash the strike.
Yeah, man. Quick aside,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I might have told this story before because it really cracks me up. But my family on my dad's side, they were a couple generations back when they came to the U.S. They worked in a foundry making textile mills in Massachusetts, making like the looms that they would send to the textile mills. And my family lived a few blocks away from Sacco and Vanzetti, who were two Italian anarchists who were executed for possibly they might have assassinated someone, but it was mostly that they were these workers, they were inspiring them to go on strike. So my family worked in the same foundry that Sacco organized, and they went on strike. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. I wonder if I have cool family members. And my dad was like, definitely not. I think they were scabs. So it was my great-great-grandfather, I think, and then my great-grandfather was the first one born in the U.S., who my dad knew, and he was like, yeah, I think the only political thing I ever heard him say was that he loved Richard Nixon. So I don't think he was on striking.
Well, dude, there was a story that was told in my grandfather on my dad's side, my papa, beloved patriarch of the family, cool cat, just the quintessential cool guy. Yeah. But the story that they always told that I didn't really see the true context on until I got older and understand about labor. It became a less cool story. Yeah. Was that so? My dad was born on June 8th, 1960, and Pratt Whitney Aircraft in Hartford, Connecticut was on strike. And my grandpa, my papa, he had just applied to work there and got hired. His start date was the date they started going on strike.
Oh, wow.
So he has literally a son born that fucking day, and he's already—
I gotta get this bread.
Yeah,
he
already has one kid before that, and then two later to come. And he was like, I mean, I get it. That's how they prey upon the working class. It's like, hey, you need this money. Yeah. So papa supposedly would show up to the fucking strike thing, walk around with a picket sign, and then he was a hole in the fence, and he would crawl into the hole, and he would go to work.
Hell yeah. I love that we're both from scab lineages.
Yeah. And like, Papa was a cool motherfucker. He was a cool dude, but it was like, that's how they divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Is that they prey upon what you need. So the story is that one day they caught on to him, and he went to go crawl through his hole in the fence, and there was 3 guys out there. And also, Pepe is known for being a brawler. My Pepe used to get into bar fights and shit. Again, cool guy. So he was walking up, and they were like, "You're not going through that hole in the fence." And he's like, "I'm going through it." Like, "No, you're not." So he cracked the dude in the head with his fucking thermos. And the other 2 guys were just like, "Yeah, you can go."
You can go, I guess.
And they let him go into the fence. And like, yeah, like when I was a kid, the story was so fucking cool. And then I got older, it was like, no,
Wait a minute.
that's not that cool.
Yeah. My family were like super like, we're in America, we speak English. They like stopped speaking Italian. They didn't. They were like, these dirty immigrants are going on strike.
Yeah, I mean, it's the path of least resistance.
Yeah,
it's like how are you going to fault somebody for? I mean, you can, but it's like you got to understand where they're coming from. It's like the thing with soldiers. I'm very sympathetic, although I hate the military-industrial complex. I'm very sympathetic to soldiers,
to the individuals,
because I'm like, that's the only fucking way out for a lot of people. Is the only sign of stability. We have no government institutions that you can be a part of that aren't combative. You know.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Well, upon hearing that, so they called in 300 Pinkerton agents to protect the 1,700 scab workers. Ended up calling the Pennsylvania National Guard. Upon hearing this, Carnegie was elated. He sent a cable to Frick saying that, quote, "Life is now worth living again."
Damn, dude, that's some drama. You don't need to be that dramatic. Chill out.
So yeah, life is now worth living again. He said he was having the first good day since July with the unions. Now, I want to reference a YouTube video that a lot of this comes from. That is a very good channel. And the guys here in Austin and I would actually like to look into having this guy on the show.
Come on the show, guy.
Yeah,
we'll find out your name momentarily.
Yeah, it's Damon Cassidy, YouTuber named Damon Cassidy.
Shout out Damon Cassidy.
He has a whole video about ghost jobs. It was really good, really informative. I listened to a bunch of interviews that he did with other people. He's on the right side. That's a cool guy. And yeah, he's in Austin. I would like to get him in here. So he said, yeah, life is worth living again. It's the happiest he's been since July with the union's crush. He then slashed wages on all the fucking new workers and imposed a 12-hour workday and eliminated 500 jobs and reduced a thriving steel mill with 3,800 skilled workers down to just 1,200 desperate replacements.
Right, which is they bring you in to scab because they offer the high wage initially.
Yeah.
But you got to have the foresight because they're gonna fuck you.
They're gonna fuck you.
They're not gonna pay you that much.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm part of a labor union, and most listeners know that. But you got to do that because we had a kid jump out to Open Shop. This is a kid that I was working with. And it's like one thing I'll give, the unions in the South aren't very strong.
Sure.
And so the initial wages, the only reason I was able to start that shit literally was because of other streams of income I have, mainly this podcast is one of them.
Right.
Was the only reason I was able to be like, okay, let me tough it out, do an apprenticeship.
So it's very woke of you all to support this podcast.
Yeah.
You're supporting a labor organization in the South. So thank you.
Yeah, but because they're so weak down here, the starting wages are fucked. And this young kid that was working with me was cool, good worker. Realized he could make money jumping an open shop, jumped to an open shop on the same site.
Yeah.
A lot of guys were shitty to him.
Sure.
Yeah, which the kid's 19. I think he's cool. So we're still friends. I still eat lunch with the kid.
Yeah.
But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I went over there and the company is called Tumlinson and they're non-union. And he goes, and so the cool thing with unions, they provide all of your power tools. So you don't have to bring a drill or an impact.
And that gets expensive.
Yeah. You still have to buy your hand tools. I still have to buy my measuring tapes, my wrenches and all that shit. But you don't need those power tools. Well, they need them over at Tumlinson. And so he's telling me about it. He goes, but it's cool because they give us this thing called Tumlinson bucks. And
script. 19-year-olds don't know about script. That's bad.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I get Tumlinson bucks and I can cash them in on this and that. And I was like, that's not good, dude.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, with the success of Carnegie's plan, this now became the blueprint on how to squash organized labor by the hands of the U.S. industrialists, flood the job market with fake listings, weaken the labor force, and ultimately crush the unions. With the New Deal and the post-war economy, companies did begin practicing of hiring based on personal merit. This was a golden age, not for everybody, but a golden age of hiring, where if you were likable and industrious and you had the traits and qualities they looked for, they would offer you a job, security, corporate growth, and a nice retirement.
Yeah.
However, as we said, that was not available to everyone.
Sure. That was back in the days of pensions and stuff.
Yeah.
That was pre-401k, I believe.
Yeah. You get a gold fucking watch. You know?
Yeah.
And so this was not available to everyone. And when JFK signed legislation to create equal opportunity hiring practices, companies soon learned how to game the system as to appear to follow the rules. Now, this is one story from the 1960s. Someone posted a job ad for an electrician looking for experienced and unexperienced men. And now we call those journeymen and Cs. But when a non-white experienced electrician went to apply for the job, he was told that the application was super complicated and just leave his name and we'll get back to you. So he left his name, only to see the same equal opportunity job listed posted the next week, thus satisfying hiring requirements for the federal government while not actually doing any of the hiring.
Yeah, this is like, I think, a really interesting point, because like this is literally the only DEI thing that actually exists, pretty much. That there are rules about advertising jobs equitably to all people. There's no, like, you don't get any benefits from hiring a diverse workforce or anything like that. There's no tax incentive to hire like a woman or a non-white person or whatever. There are if you hire like veterans and stuff, but like other than that, which like the people who hate DEI like should theoretically be fine with.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, it's like all it is you have to advertise to everyone. You don't have to hire everyone. And it sounds like, they're just getting around that rule anyway. So it's like, where's the DEI? Like, what?
Like, the idea is like, this is a huge fucking scam, and I'll look at the camera for this one. Like, if you've been convinced that DEI was stopping like the most qualified people from getting the jobs, like you're wildly misinformed. It was helping people who would have otherwise been overlooked for the fucking cronies and the homeboys to get in.
Right.
And it's like, if you don't see that, I don't know, man. It's like, get some class fucking consciousness. Understand what part of the fucking divide you're on.
Right.
Because you're not sticking up for your own interests, whether you think you are or not.
Yeah.
It might seem like you are in the short term, but in the long term, they're gonna fuck you too. All right.
Yeah.
You're not separate from these people you think you're separate from. All
Bravo.
Right? Talking to you. All right. So this moved on into a thing called anonymous jobs. So through the euphemistic language chain, we're getting closer and closer to ghost jobs. Now, in the 1980s, they called these anonymous jobs. Around the 1980s, jobs listings became further used as a tool for social manipulation and not necessarily outright hiring. Companies would post job openings, but not include the name of the employer. So this would allow them to hire outside managerial talent while not appearing to do so. And in the eyes of their existing workforce, who thought they should hire from within, they were satiated too.
Oh, because people didn't know that the job listing was for the place that they were working? It would just say,
we need a typist. Agency firm downtown needs a typist. Please apply. None of the things they have complete separation between them and the post. So they can tell their workforce, guys, we're looking for somebody to step up, or we're looking for somebody to hire. When their entire time they plan on hiring from without. And they could do that without getting checked on it. So these anonymous listings became the first form of what we know as ghost jobs, posted not to employ, but to gauge the labor market. And that's another thing these things do.
Is see how many people apply.
You see how many things apply. My boy Lane Crayer from Vanilla Presley had a great idea for a fucking a product. Like, it's been years now. Like, I don't feel bad sharing it, but like, basically, it was a water bottle that also had a phone mount and a keychain on it, because you would see people at the gym with all three of these things.
Yeah.
And so he just made a fucking mock-up prototype, took a picture of it, and posted a for sale thing on Etsy, and with theoretical pre-orders, and sold the fuck out. Like, it was like hundreds. It was like, oh, that'd be a good idea, because Lane's very smart and he knows how to do that. Well, that's what they do with job listings. Is they'll be like, okay, what's the job market really looking like? Well, let's post an advertisement saying we need this, and we'll see who applies.
Yeah.
So after the 2008 financial crisis and the rise of the digital job platforms such as Monster.com, employers found it even easier to post what were then known as phantom job listings to gain a pool of applicants while simultaneously relying on their own contacts for new hires as opposed to hiring from without. And now that we're nearly a decade and a half into the digital hiring craze, you would think that companies would have figured out how to stop certain online frauds from happening. But like with the introduction of LinkedIn, it's become an entirely new shit show altogether. In 2025, someone can decide to post a LinkedIn job ad under a burner account from an established company that's nearly indistinguishable from the actual company.
So they're posting a job listing saying like, I'm Apple and I'm hiring, and it's not Apple. It's just some
It's just
bot.
a tool. Yeah. And now you're putting all your shit out there. You're saying like, hey, this is what field I've been at. So now if you're a data farmer, that's a huge fucking thing.
Don't you have to like put your social security number in this shit?
We'll get to that. Yeah. They have all of our fucking socials. Like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's not even to gauge the job market or anything. It's just for data mining.
For data mining.
Okay.
And so data mining also as well to gauge the job market. But here's the thing is that there's no way these postings aren't being included in these fucking job counts or at least
Yeah.
considered because
Yeah.
there's no way to distinguish them. So like they're
Yeah, no, it's interesting to me that like the government seems to be looking at this sort of from without, like from the same perspective as a potential applicant, as opposed to like going through the companies, like
Yeah.
checking with the companies about the job as a, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just like scrolling, like typing in job on Monster and counting the jobs is like
Yeah.
a very inefficient way to do this. it
And I don't think that's
seems.
necessarily what they're doing, but I can't imagine that like there's so many fucking fake job listings out there. I can't imagine it's not influencing the count.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, like even like my where I work does this with because I work at a college and colleges generally have a small group of people who are full time, and then like 2/3 of the people who work there are what's called adjunct professors,
Yeah.
who are part timers, who are basically contractors, and it like the amount we need changes every semester depending on how many students we have, depending on how many classes we have to offer, and the academic job market is crazy competitive. It's really, really hard to get a tenure track job.
Yeah.
It's difficult to even like make adjuncting work. And so, but because we have these like flexible amounts of people, we have a job posting up all the time
Yeah.
for adjuncts. And it just scrapes people's resume. Like we collect all of the people who apply, and I don't know, once a year, twice a year, we hire 1 or 2 people from like hundreds
Yeah.
who think they're applying. I mean, granted, so much of the academic job market is like this that most people understand what it is. But the idea is like, I'm applying for a job. And it's like, you're kind of like building a search engine of applicant. Like you're
Yeah.
not really applying for a job.
Yeah. You're helping.
We might call you in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like that's not applying for a job.
And that's the justification a lot of these things use. We're pulling we're making a pool of talent to
Yeah.
be used at a later date.
It's like,
really,
but they need to like eat.
Yeah,
they need
yeah,
to pay
yeah.
rent.
what they're doing though is so it'll be like, let's say you work for Samsung and you put out a job ad for programmers or whatever,
Mhm.
and then you get 1,000 applications. Okay, 200 of these guys currently work at Apple. Okay,
Yeah.
so Apple, they're hemorrhaging programmers. What's going on over there?
Right. People aren't happy there.
Yeah, people just what's that about? Okay, well, let's look into that. Well, actually, let's go ahead and let's do a phone interview with this guy, and let's ask him about his corporate team structure. Hey, where do you work at right now? What are you doing? They're really just it's
Recon.
It's recon. It's fucking OPSEC.
Yeah, looking at the competitors
Yeah.
and
Through this person who thinks they're bettering their life, they're wasting their fucking time. They're waking up for a Zoom call. They're putting on pants.
yeah.
If somebody's putting on pants to meet you somewhere, you have a social obligation to carry through the fuck
be
you're talking
honest with
about.
them. Yeah.
Look, if you
Especially an unemployed person, because they're not putting on pants every day.
Yeah,
that's not a guarantee for
Yeah.
that person.
A lot of us can't afford to put on pants every day.
I was gonna wear my barrel with suspenders. I had to get my one pair of pants out.
Oh man. But yeah, so they're doing this. So a 2021 study saw a company do just that and receive dozens of applications that included vast amounts of data and personal information from applicants. An Austin robotics company recently had a similar scam pulled on them, where their new hires were contacted via LinkedIn burner accounts asking people money for startup supplies. They're like, "Hey, welcome to this extremely successful Austin robotics company that also works with the generative AI, and we're like glad to have you, but also we're gonna need $500 to get things started." And it was just a fucking scam. Yeah, and
That's so fucking
and
frustrating.
what's even worse
I
is-
will say, like, you're kind of dumb if you fall for that. But
oh no, 100%. Yeah, exactly.
it's like, oh, this robotics company needs Google gift cards.
Yeah.
Really?
So LinkedIn couldn't remove it or stop it.
We need to abolish LinkedIn.
Yeah,
It has
get the
done
fuck outta here.
nothing good for society to have that. All it's done is like, have you seen that post where it's like, I proposed to my wife yesterday. Here's what I learned about B2B marketing. And it's like, kill yourself. Kill yourself. Fuck LinkedIn.
Yeah, dude, my old roommate was a hiring manager, and so she was like, and she was pretty in demand in her industry, or she was able to kind of like call the shots for what she needed because she spent years just developing a Facebook group of people who she would hire licensed insurance agents.
Oh, so like everybody looking for a job with that license.
And she started this Facebook group on her own, and it got to like 4,000 or 5,000 members, and she was able to pull crazy numbers out of there. And yeah, good for her, you know, like she played the game the right way. But so from 2020 to 2024, the number of hiring scams has tripled and cost job seekers over $500 million.
I've heard this from people who are trying to get work is like because I feel like the thing people always say when you're looking for work is like, you need to be applying to tons and tons of jobs. Like you can't just be applying to like one a day. You need to be like really out there. And it seems like that the market is so flooded with things that aren't gonna pan out that it's like it's outpacing the ability of people to apply to enough jobs because so many of them are like fake. And it's also like, man, applying for a job, every fucking company has like a different form you have to fill out, and like you have to manually type in everything on your resume into their little program. It takes fucking forever.
It takes fucking forever. It a lot of times does nothing. You have to do little personality assessments. When I got hired for AT&T, when I had to do the little personality assessment thing to get hired, the first question.
That's like phrenology to me. It's like it's so
I failed so many of those. And the AT&T one, my employment at AT&T was contingent upon me me leaving Texas was contingent upon me getting this job at AT&T in Connecticut. I wouldn't have successfully been able to leave without that. And my aunt worked at AT&T. She was helping me the fuck out. I had a boost up there, but I still had to take all the little online things. And the first question on the personality assessment, the number one was, if you knew your mom was stealing from her job, you'd report her. True, very true, false, very false.
What kind of fucking Blade Runner replicant shit? Leave my mom out of this.
Yeah, I called my aunt. I was like, yo, Matown, when French named Matown, I was like, Matown, what do I answer? She's like, well, just say you would. And I was like, is that who they want?
They want a narc.
Yeah, you want a guy who would sell out his own fucking mother? That's crazy.
mean, think about the history of this. They want hiring scabs. They're not going for like personal integrity. They don't care about that. They want to know if you're a slave.
Is your heart beating? Is your blood moving? All right. Yeah, you got
Are
two
you
legs?
spineless? Are you completely spineless? Great. We love you.
How would you feel selling somebody a $30 phone case that is clearly made from 4 cents worth of plastic? Like, how would you feel about that?
Yeah.
So number of incidences of this happening has gone on in the last year. From 2020 to 2024, went up from 38,000 incidents a year to 100,000 per year.
Wow.
And it was actually, last year was one of the most common types of frauds. So
was this the data mining stuff?
This was the people scamming people like the startup materials.
Oh, the $500. Yeah,
shit like that, or scamming new hires. So just hiring scams in general. I apologize. This hiring scams has tripled. As we said, it's not just scammers posing as employees to harvest data. Data collection from applicants has become a serious revenue stream for legitimate companies, further incentivizing them to advertise for jobs they have no intention of filling in order to mine and sell the data from applicants.
That's so fucking dirty.
It's like, this is supposed to be the thing that lifts us out. You want us to hard work, right? Bootstraps? Well, now you made a whole fucking bootstrap industry that's just they've made money off of, like, I don't know, electrically charging bootstraps. So when you go to grab it, it shocks the fuck out of you. And then it reads how your heart reacts and sells it to further bootstrap electrifying manufacturers. It sucks, man. So a study done by Clarify Capital found that 50% of businesses interviewed admitted to posting ghost job listings, not to hire, but to, quote, build a pool for future hiring. And unless those applicants checked the fine print, when they submitted these applications, they signed away their data to this company to be sold.
Yeah.
Now, the European Union has strict laws against this. However, as we saw with the Kia boys, where it's just a consumer protection that will cost not the American taxpayer, but the company itself more money, which is like, fuck them, good, because that would cost more money to do. We do not have those protections here in America.
Yeah.
So in Europe,
we can't hurt the poor businesses. They need to sell our data.
Yeah. Look, these guys had enough money to get an LLC, dude. All right, like they're deified fucking citizens now.
Yeah.
The deification. back to the camera for this one. The deification of the small business owner in this country has fucked everyone.
Oh my
Because
God, you're so
'cause
right.
It takes, because what it does is like, yeah, like small business owners do take risks. They do their things. I respect them. But that same respect for them goes upward to the large corporation owners, and they view them as though they're the same people. And it's like, they're not. This is a guy running a fucking dry cleaning business with his cousin. This is a guy running a Fortune 500 company. Like, I shouldn't give him the same amount of leeway I give this guy.
Yeah, but also like small businesses are often really bad places to work.
Also,
like,
yeah, very bad.
Bad bosses exist in small businesses too. Like
Yeah.
it's not just they're not automatically virtuous just because they're like, I don't know, their dad started it and they took
Yeah,
it over
yeah,
and it's a
yeah,
family
yeah.
business. It's like, no, those are the people who like have the most ability to like skirt labor protections and shit because it's all like based on personal
Yeah.
like relationships and stuff like that. And a lot of those people exploit it. It's not like there is nothing inherently virtuous or good or like laudatory about running a small business. And it is like our entire economy is set up with the assumption that that is what everyone wants to do and that you should be richly rewarded for it. And
Yeah.
it's like some people have to work. Like
yeah.
some people can't just own stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah. Dude, yeah, I saw some fucking. You see those videos where it's the guys jumping off the bridges here in Austin, and they're like, "Oh, what? There's rebar and bacteria in here. I don't give a shit. I'm just living my life." And they jump in and do like a backflip into fucking Town Lake and get covered in duck shit. So I saw one of those guys' pages the other day, and he was like, essentially like, "Don't complain. Don't." Bemoan the society. Is like, hey, is like basically saying like live experiences or whatever. One of the things he mentioned was start cool companies with your friends, and I was like,
all right.
your friends are starting cool companies. It just doesn't seem like a realistic thing for everybody. I don't know. So these databases such as Equifax,
they came up in our last credit score episode.
So yeah, the Equifax Work Number database now contains over 296 million employment records. It contains employees at all wage levels from CEOs to interns. See, as I said, the European Union has strict laws against this, and there's no places.
So this is stuff that was sold to Equifax? Is that the idea?
Equifax is a company that garners this kind of information.
Okay, they collect it from the job applications.
Yeah. I would imagine they probably offer a service because they check credit. They
Yeah.
probably offer a service where it's like, oh, like you can do all of your hiring, vetting, or whatever
Yeah.
through us, and we get all the data.
Mhm.
And so because I said there's no such laws in place in America. In America, it literally relies on the ethics of the business. It's up to the
Right.
person in charge,
Right.
which is like they're not.
Which
gonna
we all
fucking
know
do it.
they're
Yeah.
so ethical.
Yeah, for example, in 2018, there's a guy named Tony Thorpe. He was a senior manager for Wells Fargo Advisors in Nashville. He oversaw 60 advisors. Mr. Thorpe said that his boss and the human resources manager overseeing him instructed that if he found a financial manager worth hiring who wanted to bring along his own assistant, that they would still have to post a job listing for the assistant. And they should do it in college and university circles that would reach minority candidates just to show that they were satisfying equal opportunity hiring statuses, even though they already knew who was getting the job.
Right. Which I feel like I applied to a lot of stuff like this where it was like they had to have the application to satisfy these requirements, but like they knew who was getting the job.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
somebody.
yeah.
It was somebody internal. Which, like, yeah, as we said, like nothing necessarily wrong with internal hires, but just that they get people's hopes up. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think you're going in for a real job interview, and it's like you know what it's like. It's like in like film casting and stuff, where like they're in talks to get Brad Pitt or whatever, but like they got to bring in other people so that they can leverage that
to tell-
contract to like
yeah.
make him feel like there's competition or whatever. And then all of these people are like, I'm going to be the next Brad Pitt. And it's like, no, you're not. It's going to be Brad Pitt. And they're
Yeah.
wasting your time.
Yeah.
It's that, but for regular people.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man. So companies don't just use ghost job listings to mine data from their workforce and their applicants. They also use it, to, like I said, to mine data from competing companies. A hiring group by the name of Odin Partners would set up fake job listings to draw applicants from their clients' competitors. Then they would set up fake interviews where they would extract information about team structure, pay scales, and various other corporate
it's
intricacies.
fucking crazy that this is not illegal.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. This is not
Literally
illegal.
the next right here. Why isn't this illegal? I wrote that. Why is this legal? So in Australia, it's actually illegal to post ghost jobs. However, it's hard to enforce because basically it's impossible to prove that a job listing is disingenuous.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way to prove it. Like, yeah, we plan on hiring. They didn't.
We
wow
didn't find
us.
anybody. Yeah.
They didn't give us the old razzle dazzle. And by razzle dazzle, I mean being a dude or whatever, whatever the case may be. So in America, we subsidize roughly $50 billion a year to corporations to spur hiring. It's given to them to say, hey, we want you to grow.
Job creators.
Use this money. Job creators, right? Well, just like any other faucet spraying out government money, this ultimately roots back into the pocket of the politicians and the CEOs who are doing no real hiring. And so it just, there's some stats that I want to, it boils down to this. It's like we're told that getting a job and working and prospering is going to be the way that we come up in this world. The fact that things are going so badly right now, it has nothing to do with the systems that are in place. It has to do with the personal responsibility of every American.
Nobody wants to work
Nobody
anymore.
wants to work anymore. They're all degraded by fucking woke. You know,
Yeah.
it just these dumb fucking buzzwords.
Have you ever seen that graphic of it's just a collection of quotes from like various business titans over like the last 150 years that are all saying this generation doesn't want to work anymore, like going back to like 1850.
Yeah.
It's like turns out human beings like don't really want to work, but we do it because we have
fucking
to.
Yeah, that's like the there's a is it Plato or Aristotle who's around the time that writing was invented, and he was like, that's gonna be the end, dude. Nobody's gonna memorize anything anymore.
Yeah. Eat shit, Homer. It's over for you.
So here's some stats that are just kind of interesting. So more than 60% of companies who reported posting ghost jobs said they did so, quote, to make employees believe their workload will be alleviated by new workers.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Dude,
finally they're gonna get somebody else.
If you've ever had a fucking job, you know that. We're about to man up. We're about to get more people in here. We're about to have somebody. It was while we were recording the podcast. I was working as a fucking dishwasher at a chicken restaurant, and one day the salad chef was out, and they're like, "Hey, can you run the salad during the lunch rush?" And I was like, "Cool." That just became my job.
Yeah.
That was just what I did for no fucking increase in pay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, what are you gonna do? Because like you're in there. I like the people I'm working with. I don't want anyone to have a bad day. You know, so it's like I stick my neck out. But yeah, don't do that.
Well, and it's like, especially when health insurance is tied to our jobs and stuff, it's just like, where are you going to go?
Yeah, where are you going to go? Yeah.
This is like, you want to go out and give your name to a bunch of fake job applications again? No, you're going to stay here and do the work of two people.
Yeah. Have you seen the what's that young man's name? Bo Burnham with the
young man.
What's that young man's
He's
name?
our age.
Bo Burnham. Have you seen the inside with the Sacco?
I didn't see it.
It's a really good bit where he's just like singing a song about how the world works, and it's very idealistic. It's like from the ants on the ground to the birds and the trees, people take what they want and they give what they need and whatever. And then he brings out this little Sacco thing and explains that life is based on exploitation and cruelty. And he's just like, and it turns out Sacco doesn't exist when you take him off your hand. So he goes, I'll take you off. He goes, no, I don't want to go back in that liminal space of pain and holding. He's like, all right, well, then you're going to fucking pipe down. Like, yeah, he's like, he goes, just remember who's on whose hand here. Like, yeah, that's how they get you. Now, it's even more dastardly, I think. 62% of respondents said they posted ghost jobs expressly to make their employees feel replaceable.
Yeah.
Because I see that in the union. Calls go up. You see, calls when people come on the job site. And if you're sitting there and I'm not a call checker guy. Like a lot of guys stay on that shit all day. I don't. But people that do check the calls, they'll be like, yo, there's 4 CE calls here at Capstone, which means like either they're hiring 4 new people or they're getting rid of 4 people.
They're replacing some people, yeah.
And I think I would like to imagine with a union it's a little more like cut and dry.
Insulated, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact is, it's like it has the intended effect.
Right. Well, and that's another thing that like the U.S. has that other countries don't have, or rather we lack a thing that other countries have, which is like at will employment is not a thing in other places. Like that in the US you can get fired for anything.
Yeah.
They don't even really have to give a reason, which in most other countries that's not there is more of a process to getting rid of people, and they have to fire you for cause. You can be fired there are obviously protections against like you're not supposed to be able to fire somebody because of their race or something like that. But you just have to say it's for something else because we have at-will employment. So just like, I don't like you anymore. We're getting somebody else.
It's called freedom.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Freedom to have to find a job. Yeah.
So 43% stated that they used ghost jobs to give the perception that their company was thriving despite uncertain economic conditions. So let's say you go to a shareholder meeting. The shareholder meeting, which indirectly dictates almost every facet of our fucking lives, is dictated by a shareholder meeting and how happy the shareholders are leaving that meeting, which makes no fucking sense. How is that a thing? How is that a group of fucking people getting together to check on their investment depends on how like my financial day-to-day is going to shake out.
Right. It's the goal of the company is to please the investors, not to like make life better for the people working there.
Yeah. It's like, bitch, I didn't invest in IBM. I don't give a fuck. Well, like, as we talked about the last episode on one of the Patreons, like I should be able to opt out of this shit. It's like, if you want to get involved in this high stakes world of finance and ups and downs, by all means, but your shit shouldn't bleed over to my shit.
It's especially ironic too, because we're talking about how this number is supposed to be indicative of economic security.
Yeah.
And so the idea that you would put them out to bolster the idea of economic security when there is actually economic insecurity, it feeds itself, where it's like, oh, things are actually good. It's like, no, they just want to make it look like things are good.
Yeah. Like why should you, like, the idea that you can make it look like your company is thriving when shit's going bad. And like, I see how this gets painted as like hero behavior in certain people's eyes, where it's like, oh, this dude knew what he had to do. He got in, he projected and faked it till he made it. And it's like, man, a lot of times people are faking it, they don't make it.
Yeah.
Like occasionally you fake it till you make it, but
or they make it, but like dozens of people are left in their wake without jobs. You know, like they might get out unscathed, but the rest, you know.
Yeah, nobody else is. 85% went as far as to interview candidates despite not actively hiring for the role. That probably goes back into data mining and asking, hey, what's up with your corporate team structure in your current position?
Yeah.
Nearly 70% of them said posting fake job listings boosted revenue. So they saw increase from this. 65% said the job ads had a positive impact on morale. But it's from whose side of the table?
Whose morale,
Yeah. 77% reported an uptick in productivity among workers because they were scared of losing their job. That's 77%. That might, as far as the implications of that statistic, that might as well be 100 fucking %. You know?
Yeah. No, that's really scary. I mean, especially again when we're talking about like the fact that at-will employment isn't scary enough. We need to give another reason for people to feel like they're under the gun at all times. What a nightmare.
And on top of all of this, 70% of these companies interviewed about their ghost job listings, 70% believe that it is morally acceptable to do this.
Cool.
Yeah. Which again, when talking about the ramifications of that statistic, it might as well be 100 fucking %.
Yeah.
And that is, that's that. And
damn, dude, this sucks. If anybody out here is looking for a job, I'm very sorry. It is rough out there. I mean, especially like it's been, you know, things have been especially unstable in the last like few months with all this tariff stuff, and that has like downstream effects on hiring and everything. But this whole like sort of AI, like this like Potemkin village of fake jobs, it's just like, it seems designed to waste everyone's time except for the shareholders. Like it's so it's I'm real mad, Pat. I'm real mad.
Yeah. This one was a bummer one, man. It just sucks, and it's like, how do they keep doing this and act shocked when people are gunning down CEOs in the street,
right?
Or people like don't want to work, or like the public unrest is at an all-time high, and they keep trailing it back to like a moral failing on the part of everybody else. It's like, oh, you guys are just fucked. You're lazy. You glorify violence. You know, you're jealous. That's the one thing. Pocket watching. Everybody, whenever you bitch about, that is how the wealthy elite secure their fucking place, is by making you think that anyone who doesn't like them is jealous of their success.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't give a fuck how many houses you have, dog. I want to live. I want to eat. And
right. I just want one house.
Yeah, the idea that you're tricking some dude that makes just as much money as I do into believing that my ideas are fucking just born out of pure jealousy and hatred and ineptitude.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting.
It's like these people in that position have no, like you said, that it wouldn't even occur to them that other people might want to opt out of the system.
Yeah.
That, like, not everybody's reason for being is to become a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people just want to have an okay time and be comfortable and provide for the people they care about. And these people like they just don't believe that. They're like, they cannot fathom that someone would just like want to live a nice life.
Yeah, I just want to live a comfortable life. I don't want to see my fucking shareholdings increase. I don't give a shit. I just want to like hang out with my homies and work and get paid for the work I'm doing.
Not get hit with overdraft fees.
Yeah,
that's like all I want.
Fees, dude, it's not that hard. I think to bring this back to like a culturally relevant thing. During the discussion of the Drake versus Kendrick beef, you would see people talking about the who won, which clearly, obviously, Kendrick won. The
Sure,
entire
yeah.
world thinks
There's literally a legal finding that he won through the lawsuit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like part of a court record that Kendrick won.
But when you go into the comment sections of all these, like, because I follow a lot of hip hop pages on all sorts of social media stuff.
People saying Kendrick's jealous.
Kendrick's jealous. He's using him. He's using Drake to boost his career
For clout.
And then the other one is like I see the iteration of this sentence several different times where it's like, yeah, Kendrick won the battle, but Drake won the war because he's worth 180 million and Kendrick's only worth 40 million. Or I don't know what the numbers are, but it's like, bro, if you don't think a person can live comfortably on 40 million and then not want to get 180 million, and then you think everything they do is to get themselves out of this lower income bracket of $40 million,
right?
That shows that there's been this poison has fucking infected the brains of our society.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's like, well, Drake won because he made more money. And it's like, that's not what the fuck the whole thing was about.
Also, like, I mean, and there are ways that this is like a bullshit fake idea too, but it's like, how much is your fucking dignity worth?
Yeah.
What? Like, okay, there's like $100 million difference, but one of these people is respected. How does that?
One person is respected, the other person is like the only people that listen to him.
A Super Bowl arena full of people called him a pedophile. Is that worth it to you? I can't imagine. Even the most greedy person.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is like, you see with Elon Musk, like, it doesn't matter how much money he has. He can't buy respect, and it clearly drives him fucking crazy.
Nuts, dude. I've always said, like, Elon Musk would have loved to have been the richest man in the world in the early 2000s. If Elon Musk was the richest guy on earth in the early 2000s, he would still probably he'd probably be on Dancing with the fucking Stars right now or something. He would be a beloved cultural touchstone. But he happened to come into it at a time when people are just a little less patient and a little more socially aware. And like, there's a lot of people that are like, man, fuck this guy. And it's like, I think he hates that every day he wakes up.
Yeah. And, did you see the thing of him playing a video game where like, it's just the chat is just people being like, you ruined the economy just like you ruined your marriages. Like, it's just people shitting on him so bad. And it's just like a blurry, it's him. He's like playing some video game alone on like his private jet while like teenagers. And it's just like, you can't, no amount of money in the world can give you like the respect of people. And if you do this kind of stuff to pursue money, people won't respect you. Like the average person will not respect you. And it just doesn't seem fucking worth it. So long story short, don't post fake job openings.
Yeah. Don't do that. Man, at the lodge, a bar me and Kath hang out. There's some people that we know run. Somebody was in there the other day and they were defending Elon Musk and Zach kicked them out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was like we were deep in the drinks, and this kid was over there. He was like shooting dice. I don't know how the fuck came up, but he was just like, "Why is everybody hating on that guy?" And Zach was like, "Man, if you don't think we should chop his head off, you get the fuck out right now."
Beautiful.
Yeah. Zach Brooks. Check out the episodes we did with him about Texas gamblers. All right, guys. Well, that's it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't post fake job hirings. And keep your head on a fucking swivel when you're out there. It sucks. You shouldn't have to be leery of being taken advantage of when you're going out to get the fundamental thing that makes our society work and makes your life easy.
That's supposed to be like the most virtuous thing you can do as an American is contribute to the economy. And they're still like making it hard for you to do.
The very idea that you need to do it, they're going to fucking find a way to monetize it at your detriment. And that's just, it's not good. Guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that informs some decisions that you make moving forward in your life. Shout out that YouTube guy. I want to shout him out one more time because he's really good. Yeah, Damon Cassidy. And maybe we'll get him in the basement. We'll see what happens. But check out that video. It's very good. Kath, you got anything for us?
Follow me on Blue Sky and Instagram at Kath Barbadoro. I also have another podcast called What a Time to Be Alive that comes out every Monday. It's about silly news stories, and it's very fun. So check that out.
Hell yeah, guys. I'm Pat Soroyce. I'm at PZTX on Instagram, and I'm at Crooked Union Guy on Blue Sky. Come fuck with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be safe, be smart, but above all, don't get caught.
Don't get caught. See you next time.